Yeah. Shoot.
Jeff, what do you see in Noah Penda?
Noah is a very unique player. So he's 6'7" plus, 7-foot wingspan, probably about 250, and he's exceptionally skilled. Very good ball handler, very good passer, and an excellent defender. So he's kind of a unique player. And when we first saw him, he kind of struck us as, on one of our first trips to Europe this year as a guy to flag for the rest of the season. So we've been tracking him pretty closely.
You obviously had to make a move to go get him. What made him kind of made him the player that you wanted to pursue and spend some of your draft capital to get?
Well, a lot of the attributes that I just spoke about, and then we were able to get him in for a visit. We were looking at him at 25. He had a very good visit with us on and off the court, and you guys know how important the person is to us. And we just felt he's kind of got magic DNA, and man, he's a very well-rounded player with a exceptionally high IQ, which I know I say that, I guess, but he's a very smart player, both ends of the court. His statistical numbers with steals, deflections, blocks are very high level, and able to cover multiple positions. I think the fans will see that he's a unique player.
He's obviously played in France in the last 3 years. He mentioned as a pro. Just when you look at that league as a whole, how beneficial is it for a player like him to play in there, get that experience that kind of prepares him for this next step?
So he was a Division II French League player last season, moved up to Division I this season, and really didn't have the expectations that today would place on him. And he's just a worker, and he's gotten better and better. He's improved his body, and as he's done that, he's just kind of become one of the elite players in the league at 20. So I think this is kind of an unexpected rise for him, and he's a hungry guy. He's passionate about the game. He makes other people better. Two-way player. Tough, physical, skilled, smart. So, those are the things that we saw in him.
It's been 2 years since you've had a second-round pick. When Caleb was a rookie, he spent a lot of the time in Osceola in the G League. Is that kind of maybe the plan for Noah? And how much is that Osceola staff part of these second-round choices?
Yeah, if I can do the second part first. Osceola is a huge part of what we do. And a lot of our Osceola staff works with our regular staff when they're not working in Osceola. So we try to keep everybody attached. Everything that we do off the court, our strategical planning, our player development, everything that we do, we like to wed with Osceola. And so it's really important that it's not just when you go there we run the same plays. It's the same people. It's the same messaging. So I don't know how that's going to turn out. To get to the first part of the question, I don't know how that's going to turn out, but that will be determined by Noah. So this guy will do whatever it takes to become a really good player, and we'll figure that out as we go.
We've talked a lot about the financials and the new CBA, the fairly new CBA. In this age, how has the value of the second round changed, over the years to where it is now?
How long you got? I mean, now you're talking about two ways, and in the new CBA, the second round contracts are a little different. So as we all get crunched by aprons and different restrictions that surround those things, the second round is becoming more important, and I think that's being evidenced by a lot of these picks. You'll have some guys that tell you, don't pick us to give us a two-way because behind you a team wants to roster us because they can only afford second round pick contracts. So it's getting very very interesting. A lot of communication is required. The advent of having the second round being on its own day has kind of added to probably strategic thinking and the time that we put into these things. Used to be a little more fly by the seat of your pants, and now there's a lot of communication going on between rounds, checking in. Where are you guys now? What promises do you have? So it's changed a lot.
Jeff back here, Zach Maskovich, Watch 2. I'm curious, the first round started about 24 hours ago. How much did you stay up last night working to see what you were going to do here in this second round, and what was so special about this guy to make a move to go up and get him?
Yeah, sleep hasn't been a big part of our vocabulary recently. Noah's just a unique player. You just don't see many guys who are 6'7", 7-foot wingspan, as big as he is, and who move the way he does. He's got really good hands and feet, advanced feel for the game, and they put him in pick and roll sometimes on his team, and he would switch out and guard guards. So he's just a unique talent, and we think that a lot of what he does will translate to the way that we want to play and to the NBA. But obviously he comes in as a rookie, and he's going to have to learn a lot, culturally and obviously being a rookie in the NBA. So we'll give him the right time, but he's going to come in eager.
Jeff, the free agency window opens in a few days. Other than the 3 words, "will be active," can you tell us anything else?
Nope. We've been doing a lot of planning, and you're right. They bleed one into the other. Now you can almost call the first round into the second round, and then next week into free agency. So you can't take them one at a time. You've got to do a lot of planning, and as intensely as our guys have been getting after it, trying to figure out the draft and what teams are positioning themselves where, we've also been putting in a lot of time on free agency and trying to understand how the landscape will play out. So much of it really can't be determined until the draft is over. And then you start to fill up rosters and see team needs. And obviously agents are looking at the same thing, So, we will try to be active. Obviously, our roster is pretty filled up at this point. But we'll target some guys and hopefully have some luck in conversations and see where that goes.
You kind of mentioned just everything kind of bleeding into each other. The first stop there is Sunday with some of the contract deadlines. Where, if you can, where do things stand with Mo and Caleb, and how much is bringing them back a priority?
Well, that all bleeds into free agency. Obviously, they have the same agent, and we're in constant communication. So those are easy conversations. But I think a lot of that is, you can talk to someone early, but the market hasn't been set yet. So those things are going to unfold as they do. Obviously, those guys have been great players for us the last couple of years, and they've earned themselves favor around the league. So we'll have to see what the market kind of looks like and how we build out our team and everything. But they're important guys, and they're great guys.
Jeff, kind of going off that with a free agency class that national media wouldn't say is very deep. Does that make teams overpay for a player that they might want, such as a Mo Wagner, who can bring a lot to a team? And is that something that you're concerned about?
No, I mean, it's always, the market is always, it's never predictable, and it's based on, team needs. It's based on how much room, but now there are so many more layers to that, because now you've got so many apron restrictions, and it's made it much, much harder to navigate. And so discussions that used to be pretty easy to figure out a few years ago are now very oblique and obscure, and it's really tough to figure out how would they do this? They would have to do this and this, and you're seeing more multi-team trades. So it's really unpredictable, and really you just have to get to a place where you understand what teams are going to be interested in what players, how the market gets set, and planning for the future becomes really a bigger part of it, I think, now.
There's obviously still some picks to go, but how do you will you handle the two-way contracts for the upcoming season? Do you plan on maybe targeting guys that go undrafted or other targets that you may have in mind?
Yeah, we'll see who goes undrafted, and then historically we've kind of left those open a little bit. We like to also go into summer league and have a little bit of flexibility there in case we kind of fall in love with someone and want to have that conversation. So that's probably I think the way that we're approaching it. But obviously we have to first see who goes undrafted tonight. Guys, thanks so much.